So, uh, good evening, everyone. Audible? Hello. Um, Kumar, your mic is on. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Shri.
Okay, so hello everyone. I warmly welcome you all to your second policy manthan. So today's topic is teacher training in India, gaps and opportunities. So I hope you all remember your guideline, and I request you all to keep your speeches to the time limit. And please start writing your names in the chat boxes. I'll call out your name in the sequence. And guys, please turn on your cameras. Okay. Only Nidhi has written her name. So let's start with Nidhi. Nidhi, you can start.
Hello, good evening, everyone. There is some network issue here, so is that fine if I don't switch on my video call? Uh, Hello.
Yes, you're audible. You can go next.
Okay, so today's topic is teacher training in India, gaps and opportunities. So the teacher quality is like one of the strongest factor that influence student learning, as we all know. Yet teacher training doesn't always get the attention it deserves in policy discussion. We usually don't discuss about teacher training programs. There are very less conversations or discussions regarding it. This is like what I feel, and I have seen that. And if I talk about various challenges regarding this, the first challenge that I can say is that the teacher training is too generic, like it is outdated and it is poorly resourced. Matlab, if we can see कि there are some like government programs that ask like that provide teachers training, but they all provide training like regardless of teachers experience. Like teachers matlab, like uh, they provide training that teachers find like very irrelevant. They don't feel like totally relevant because every teacher has different experience, different subjects, so they find these trainings very irrelevant. And then and if I talk about one more point, the major issue is basically a gap between theory and actual classroom meets. Like it leave teacher unprepared for real world teaching experience. And some other factors can be lack of internet devices, infrastructure or good training facilities. Because as we see, like teachers are already very overburdened with large classes, so these programs should be of like a small time duration, because बहुत बड़े बड़े ऐसे ट्रेनिंग सेशंस होंगे तो it will make teachers very exhausting. And if I talk about the current training landscape, it is basically a government do provide pre-service training, like institutions like district institution of education and training and various other B.Ed programs. And in the end, if I conclude, all these training are generic, very short term, and there is lack of continuity with limited focus on these classroom challenges. And if I like, these were the major points. And if I talk behalf of students, so I feel students will like to have teachers who are who can connect them to real life applications, like like we talked in last session about emotional intelligence. So teachers should also be trained regarding this emotional intelligent thing that can make students feel connected to the teacher. And other things can be improved communication skills. Like every teacher should have not only sympathy but empathy also. And she she or he should be open to feedbacks from teachers. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
That was great, Nidhi. I really liked the way you talked about it. But I just wanted to ask, if you were supposed to hold one teacher session, like a training session, what will you include on in those sessions? Like, what will be your point of including?
uh, Firstly, I will keep that session a very short session, so that teacher also feel it कि ज़्यादा एग्जॉस्ट नहीं हो रहा, टाइम लिमिट कम हो और वो भी अच्छे से पार्टिसिपेट करे, बिकॉज ऑलरेडी एज अ टीचर फैमिली बर्डन भी होगा, फैमिली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज एंड फिर क्लासरूम रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज. तो फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई विल कीप in my mind is कि session should be short. And more thing if I will add is various activities. We can make teacher learn various activities जो वो खुद भी इंटरेस्ट ले पार्ट लेने में, और वो स्टूडेंट्स को भी वो एक्टिविटीज आगे वो इनिशिएट करे टू कंडक्ट सच एक्टिविटीज. लाइक activities like fun activities, uh, activities that can enhance teachers empathy towards students, like that. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so it's I just want all of you guys to think about this, and at the end of the meeting, we can talk about what types of activities we can include in the training sessions up for the teachers. We can talk about this at the end of the session. Now, I would like Kadambari to go next, and before that, everyone turn on your cameras. And when someone is speaking and has ended their speaking, please at least react with something. Okay, it's not very good to see it's all blank because she is giving her best. So please just react with something and turn on your cameras, please. Yes, Kadambari, you can.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
So, I want to talk about the teachers training in India, as it is our policy Manthan topic. But I would like to start with the fact that India has around 1 crore plus teachers, and this is something that directly impacts how 25 crore students learn every day. So, numbers are huge. So, India's Department of School Education and Literacy received an allocation of around 73,000 crore for the fiscal year 2024-2025, and which is highest such allocation ever for school education, aims to train around 42 lakh teachers through NISTA. So, NISTA is an initiative. It is the national initiative for school heads and teachers' holistic advancement, but having this scales doesn't guarantee quality. And I have experienced this firsthand. I would like to share my personal examples. Like when I was in school, so as we all know, during COVID, what all had happened. So my chemistry teacher, uh, she is brilliant at explaining reactions on the blackboard, but when it comes to online, she was completely lost. We received some blurry WhatsApp images instead of interactive sessions or videos. So it was because she never had that she never trained in digital pedagogy. So the another example I would like to give, that was my 10th grade maths teacher. I don't know what she was going through, but she was just under that constant pressure to complete the syllabus on time. She lagged. She was very good at teaching maths, sums and all, but I think she lacked in time management. So that is something we can include in our teachers training program, so that teachers can upskill them and really get interested in also, so that students can learn from them what all skills they should have, I think. Also, one problem that I saw was we had a few classmates. They were from Marathi medium background, and during our English classes, they really didn't understand what she's teaching. And our teacher was really, she really wanted to help them, but she didn't know how to make that session inclusive or multilingual. So that was the problem, I think, and that we can solve through better teaching, uh, teacher training initiatives. So yeah, so the most training focuses on quality over quality, like just ticking boxes other than building skills. So there's little mentoring or classroom observation after training. So there's this, no, that teachers, our teachers used to tell us that they used to go to training stations, and they used to tell us their experiences over there. And they I remember once our teacher said that there was no adequate infrastructure. It was just like chai samosa party, and not the real training. And it was just for the sake of doing it, like they were some under some compulsion of doing it, and they didn't really grow or upskill themselves. So that was the problem. There's this initiative called diet, which is a district initiative for education and training, so that lack proper infrastructure and digital tools. When I was reading through articles on this, so I came across this point. So the some few solutions that we can do is that continuous professional development, that is CPD. Not making it just one-time workshops, but regular bite-sized learning throughout the year, and it will have 2 to 3 monthly sessions uh, on classroom management, tech integration, or inclusive learning. One more thing that is really interesting we can do is that, so we see that every school has that few master teachers who are like experienced, and they are the super teachers, like they know everything that we consider. So they can mentor new teachers or the junior teachers. They can form a group where they can share their experiences, or how they can handle students and all that. Yeah, so contextual content. The last point that I would like to mention is that a rural Rajasthani teacher needs a different skills than an urban Mumbai teacher. So training should address local realities, like while maintaining national quality standards. Yeah, so that was it. And like now I would like to give an example that in Finland all teachers need a master's degree, and getting into the field of teaching is harder than becoming a doctor or lawyer. So teaching is seen as a respected profession over there. So when teachers know how to handle diverse classrooms, use basic technology, and manage their time, students can learn more, and they will feel better learning in schools. So these fixes aren't like some rocket sciences. They are just regular updates instead of annual workshops, experienced teachers helping newer ones, and practical training that can actually work in real life scenarios. Yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Yes, that was really great, Kadambari. I love the way you incorporated your own personal experiences. Well, now that you talked about the language barrier thing, I think it also happened with me in college because it's in Maharashtra, so Marathi. So teachers speak Marathi, and I don't understand Marathi at all. So that's one problem which I faced. It's not only about English. The teachers, when they speak English, the Marathi speaking students, they are in majority, and they are like, we don't understand. So yes, language is also a problem, and there should be some course on them for the teachers so that they can address this issue. Yes, so now I would like Samiksha to go next.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you're audible and visible.
So, for today's today's topic, I'd like to pick up upon where we left last week. That is, we talked about how teachers often are not prepared to handle the mental health challenges that their students face. And this is a clear gap in teacher training itself. So, addressing this requires more than building subject expertise in training, but also preparing teachers to support children as whole human beings in terms of their knowledge, in terms of how they deal with problems, etc. And before I return to this thought, I'd like to share what is happening on the policy side with some numbers and schemes that Kadambari also mentioned. So we've all heard about schemes under NEP like Nishtha on the Diksha platform, which has lakhs of teachers enrolled at elementary and middle levels. There is this integrated teacher education program, which is a 4-year B.Ed program, which is running in 57 higher education institutions. There is also National Mission for Mentoring, which has onboarded 1100 mentors already. And there is funding for district institutes of education and training, that is diet, which was 900 crores in the financial year 23-24 and 1400 crores in 25-26. This was for their upgradation, but as Kadambari also mentioned that the infrastructure there is very weak. So my point is that these numbers are very impressive on paper. The number of mentors onboarded, the budgets approved, the number of teachers enrolled. But if we look closely on these numbers, we realize that these are mostly outputs and not outcomes. We do not know that what is the outcome for teachers. These are just numbers that highlight that we have done this much, but we do not know the impact. Have these trainings really make the teachers more skilled, more confident, and more at ease with dealing with children? So, to get a more realistic picture, I spoke to 3 government school teachers and they shared their struggles with me. So, one teacher, whatever I'm going to say next is their perspective, which I'd like to bring on the table. So, one teacher said that the training they receive at diet or the curriculum that they are asked to deliver sometimes feels too philosophical, which sometimes may go over the head of the students and too far removed from the lives that these students actually live in. For example, there is this one module that asks the teachers to introduce the 5 senses of the body to children by linking them to 5 elements of nature, so that students could learn about the harmony between body and nature. And this was for class 3 students. But it is lovely on paper, but one teacher said that this does not connect to the realities that these children live in. They come from cramped homes, they face economic hardship, and some parents only send their students to school so that they can have a midday meal, and they do not support their studies. So, hearing all that, you can imagine the challenges that these students face. And another challenge that the teachers mentioned was that there are these foundational literacy and numeracy workbooks that they get, and it is mandatory for every student to fill these workbooks. These are like this thick workbooks. But they highlighted that not all the children at classes 1, 2, and 3 are at the same level. Even in a same class, they're not at the same level. A class 3 child might not know how to write the alphabet, so they feel that these fixed curriculum and these fixed workbooks leave no space for them to adjust to their child's need, to their student's need. And this is frustrating for both the student and the teachers because there's no room to experiment. The teachers know better about the realities that their students live in, so they should be given more room to experiment. And there are also some small things that uh, come in the that there are obstacles like the UX of government portals. For example, sometimes to record attendance on the online portal, they call that e-attendance. They have to upload their photo every morning, but sometimes the network does not work in rural areas. Sometimes the portal would not accept their photos even if there is good connectivity. So these small things take a toll on teachers' mind, and it affects how they deal with children for their whole day, because they are present at the school but their attendance is not marked. So this, the UX of these government portals also is a problem. But there is a silver lining. There is hope, because they address that they receive ICT trainings, for information and communications technology training for teachers who do not have, who are not tech savvy. And there are monthly training meetings where they are asked that what problems they are facing, so that people at the top level can change their policies. So I feel it is still too early to judge what NEP reforms will bring and where they will take us. But these small positive shifts are there, which feel like we are going in a good direction. And as part of this discussion, we were also asked to reflect on what I wish my teacher had done differently. So, one thing I'd like to say that some teachers in my school and my schools like embarrassed children for not being able to get the concept in one go, and that was really humiliating for me and my classmates, and it discouraged us from asking questions. So, that is something that I think should have changed. And this brings me to the discussion where I started, that teacher training has to be not just about content, about subject expertise, but also about empathy, about mental health awareness, and about meeting children where they are. So thank you so much. And
Yes.
it's a bit too long. I'm really sorry for taking so much time.
No, it's fine. Just next time, don't take so time. But it was very informative, and I liked the way you spoke about everything, like your personal experience. No, the last thing you said about being embarrassed, like the teachers embarrass the students. Many of the times when I was in school, when I didn't understand a maths concept, I used to look around, and when everyone used to nod their heads, I was like, okay, I will nod my head too. So I think that that's what's happening right now, because the teachers, I don't think that's the teachers' fault, because the students are like not getting it and they're so exhausted already. I was in government school, so they were already exhausted doing the administrative work. And then there is 40 students in per class. They have to take 8 classes a day. So I don't think that's the teacher's problem. But yeah, I like the way you spoke. Now I would like Vemna to go next.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, all right. I wanted to point out this problem. Right now, when we talk about most reports, they just say like 500 teachers attended a workshop or X hours of training was completed. But I think sitting in a workshop doesn't guarantee that teaching in the classroom has improved. So, like, instead of counting attendance, we need to measure what really matters, whether training is changing what happens in the classroom, and is it helping the children to learn. So I think we should check a real classroom practice. Like, instead of tracking teacher attendance training, I think we should ask, like, did this teacher try out a new method in class, which was taught to them in their workshop? Was there a mentor or a colleague who was observing the lesson? Did they get a feedback? Or if it was a meaningful process at all? uh, Even if we're looking for small visible changes, for example, is the teacher asking more questions, using activities instead of only lectures, or checking if students understood these simple signs, the training is being applied? This would impact a lot. We should also see if students are benefiting from this. I mean, we don't need big exams. If we can conduct small checks, like whether children are able to read fluently or solve or at least class 2 standard or math problems that they struggled with earlier. If training leads to even small gain, that's a success. Or if we can use digital tools like Diksha to keep a track. I mean, like, as Samiksha has pointed out, there are drawbacks to the digital tracking as well. But so instead of like getting a certificate for attendance, the platform could record things like teacher completed 3 practice cycles and improved classroom questioning. I think so. Moving on from counting heads in a workshop to counting improvements in classroom. That way, training stops from being a formality and starts making a difference for children. Coming to my personal experience of classroom, I think I had the privilege of getting smart boards in my class where we would watch every day video lectures after our classroom. So that was a very good idea that our school had. One big drawback that I had was my biology professor was the principal of our class of our school. So he would not take classes. He was busy with his administrative things. I think that should not be the case. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I love the way you highlighted the problem of the administrative work being on the teachers through your personal experience. Like, I think we all have faced it. Whoever were in government school must have faced it a lot, because I have, our teacher was the vice principal and she used to always be busy. And we used to have PE sports, like we had sports game during a period. She used to teach us maths. But now that I think about it, it was like too exhausting for her. Well, good job, Vemna. And now I would like Gauri to go next.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So I would like to start by saying that we when we are talking about government schools or the education sector, we are somewhere we're always tearing teachers apart with how they're lagging behind with their teachings and their techniques. But uh, I think the aggressive approach to teaching and the laid back attitude that teachers have in classrooms. I'm sure some people have seen visuals coming from government schools, but teachers are dozing off in class, they're beating students, they're, the chai samosa party that someone mentioned. I think this is a reflection of the laid back attitudes that the higher administration has towards teachers. So it's like a domino effect. Teachers are being ignored by higher administration, so students are being ignored by teachers. Um, I think when we, if we, someone mentioned that how teachers are being trained and how teachers teach in class will impact students directly. So we really need to focus on teachers training, and we need to firstly update our curriculum, because I think no amount of no new portal like Diksha or Nishtha is going to improve how outdated the students' curriculum is. No amount of working around the teachers' training curriculum is going to make up for how outdated the student curriculum is. And the leash for experimenting in class and new learning methods is so short for teachers that students bear the brunt, where we are still obsessing over a black color pen for questions and blue color pen for answers. In 2025, I think updated curriculum for student is very important so that teachers feel inspired to bring their experimental ways to impart education. And even like ICT learning tools which are inculcated in class, again it goes back to just teaching the outdated curriculum. So I really don't think any amount of reforms for teachers training is going to make up for how outdated student curriculum is. Like someone mentioned, NEP's goal is to standardize teachers' training by 2030. So they're trying to bring in, I'm sorry for looking at the screen, it's just very information loaded. Um, so the new regulations by National Council for Teachers Education requires that integrated teachers training program has to replace BEd and MEd uh, in place of a 4-year degree to standardize teachers training. But like firstly, all this training requires internet connectivity. Okay, so if you want access to Diksha portal, you need internet connectivity for that. If you are marking if you're marking attendance, that needs internet connectivity. When you don't have that, including digital literacy in teachers training, how does that translate to ground realities? How can someone implement it when you don't have the infrastructure to back it up? And there are 15,000 NCTE approved teachers education institutions in present. where 7 lakh students are enrolling into these teachers education institutions every year, and yet the gross enrollment ratio is falling. And there are still vacancies are empty in government schools. Even though there are so many vacancies are coming out, the posts for government school teachers are empty. So again, coming back to how unsupported teachers are, if you are not giving them the support that they require to teach students, if you are not giving them monetary compensation, no incentives, and teachers job is somewhat also looked down upon. It's not a very respectable job in today's times. uh, People are aiming for corporate jobs now, and I think whoever is not able to make the cut to these corporate jobs or the respectable jobs are ending up in these teachers positions, who may or may not have any passion for teaching. So that needs to be improved. That I think it all comes back to supporting the teachers and not burdening them with legislative work, with election duties. I really don't understand why teachers need to be put for election duties. And when it comes to my experience and how I wish teachers did things differently, I think firstly the favoritism that teachers show in classrooms, they need to be more inclusive, and they need to have empathy and emotional intelligence. And also a lot of teachers coming from our fathers and mothers generation, I don't know the formal term to describe that generation, but they bring their conservative ways of thinking into the classroom. So that needs to stop, and they need to bring more liberal ways of thinking into the classroom. And teaching needs to be more interactive, rather than they're just passively bombarding students with information. Again, the ICT learning tools can be inculcated into the classroom. And uh, I want to also mention about a TAQ redressal mechanism that we had back in our college. TAQ stands for Teachers Assessment Questionnaire. So this questionnaire used to come to us at the year end by the college administration. But before the TAQ used to come to us, the link used to come to us, the teachers would enter the classroom where they would advocate for, please don't give any harsh please don't give any harsh opinions, don't give your biased opinions into these TAQs, don't like bring out your personal enmity into these TAQs. So yeah, they need to stop doing that, and TAQs need to be very honest, and this needs to be brought even in schools and not just colleges. So I think this was my take in teachers training. Thank you.
Yes, it was really very informative. I love the way you spoke the last thing about the thing, about the feedback thing. We also have that thing in our college every semester. And one of my teachers, she in my second semester, she told us that we have to fill it. And we used to think that it was anonymous, like no one would know that we did it. And she was like, I can see who did it. I can see it. So it was like, okay, she can see it. So we have to give very good, very good. She does very good. So that's thing. And guys, I just want to say, just please stick to your time frame. Like it's going way too far. So please just stick to that. And anyone wants to speak after the speaker is done speaking, just turn on your just turn on your mic and speak. Yes, Femna.
Yeah, so like this reminded me of how most of our biology professors they just skip the chapter of reproduction because either they are ashamed or students are ashamed. I think that needs to stop.
I think the teachers are more ashamed because the students were really excited. The boys in my classes were very excited. Okay, we are going to do reproduction chapter, and our sir said, "Ki, no, we will do it last," but we had to study at our own. So yes, and I just wanted to add: do you guys really think that teaching is not a dignified profession? Like, if you ask someone and they say, "Ki, I am a teacher at a government school," what do you think? Because according to me it's a dignified position. Like if someone tells me that I'm a teacher at a government school, I will be very much impressed by that. Ki, okay, he or she is a teacher. Yes, Gauri.
Okay, so just to clarify, when I mentioned that it is not seen as a dignified profession, it's not my personal take, but rather a larger societal uh, psyche that is there regarding teaching, because of firstly they're not very much supported, the pay is not very good, it's not very incentivized, you don't get promoted very quickly. So a lot of people think that people are ending in teaching profession because they could not get their luck in other professions. People are chasing more towards corporate profession, and there is a reason behind that, right? So uh, that's what I meant when I said that it's not seen as a dignified profession. Of course, if you pay respect to the teaching post, if you pay respect to what you are doing as a teacher, students will respect you, society will respect you. I think a lot of us have these few examples in our life. It's very sad that these examples are very countable. You can count it in your fingers, but we have those examples of those teachers who have changed us for the better in some ways or the other. If done properly, it is a respectable job, I think.
Yes, okay. So, Samiksha, you had raised your hand. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with all of that Gauri said, that the reputation attached with teaching is not that good, because I have government school teachers in my immediate relatives and I respect that profession. One thing I like to say that teachers, for the importance of teachers is that you could name a subject that you would not have liked because of the teacher teaching it. I did not like economics when the teacher was teaching it, but as the teachers changed, my preference towards that subject changed. So teachers do play a very important role. It's just that the reputation attached to it is not very conducive, let's say.
Yes, I totally agree with that. So before calling Niruma, I would like to call Zoha and ask her to give her views, and I would like to invite her to take over the meeting. Zoha, please.
So, very good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'll be your co moderator for today, and from here onwards, I will be taking over the meeting. But firstly, I would like to express my views as a speaker as well. So, we all know that one story, right? It was a part of everyone's syllabus. Uh, for me personally, it was in my Hindi subject. So that story goes that there's a granddaughter who is living 100 years ahead, I mean, in the next century. And she finds a notebook of her grandmother in some attic or somewhere. And she and her siblings are so very amused to see a notebook because they have never seen a notebook before. They have only studied on computers. And then when their grandmother tells them that we had teachers, we used to go to places called schools and study from teachers directly. And when I was studying and learning about that story, I was, I think, in seventh grade or sixth grade. And that would be so amusing that, wow, that could be a future where teachers wouldn't be there. There would be only robots who would be teaching us. But now that we think of it, we are like more than halfway through that future. So we are almost there. We have Chat GPT, we have AI, we have computers. Most of us prefer to take notes not on actual paper and pen, but actually on computers. And then, of course, teachers. There's so, what this story brings me to is when we talk about the problem of teachers, this huge gap that we have, we reduce this problem to just a technical problem like the pedagogy, or there is no technical training to teachers. There's no education, continuous education for teachers. All that is fine, but I would like to focus on a very specific problem. We talk about all these things. We are talking about making policies to bridge these gaps, but who are we making these policies for? Where are the teachers? Where's the next generation of teachers? I cannot see them. I cannot see them among my friends. I cannot see them among my peers. Not even one person from my own class, from my own college would want to become a teacher going forward. And even if they do, they would become that only because, of course, as mentioned earlier, they wouldn't be able to do something that they actually wanted to in their field, so they would go towards teaching and research. But in today's time, the role of teachers has totally changed. It is not just that they are transmitters of some syllabus. Now, teachers' role has totally changed. They are the counselors, they are therapists, they are the emotional connection, and sometimes the first point of contact for many students who come from very troubled households. So, that passion for teaching is very important, and it's not like people do not like teaching, or they see that as a very depressed job opportunity. When we talk to kids, uh, from my own personal experience and just the general perception, when we talk to kids, we see that many of them would say that they want to be a teacher. But going forward, when we go towards high school and college, we see that many people let go of that dream, and that is because we all know how the situation for teachers in India is. Um, we see all those reels and memes on Instagram where the private school teachers are so troubled because they are asked to submit all their certificates for like and a bonded period of time where they have to teach in that school. If not, they would not get their original certificates back. So that is a problem with private education, where even qualified teachers are not being able to get the right amount of salary and compensation for their skills and all. And government schools, there's a totally flipped side where they get a pretty secure amount of money and all those things, but often we see that they are not that trained, and they are more of there just for research purposes. Personally, now I'm in a law college, and it's a state university. So what we have is, as I'm studying BA LLB, so we mostly have BA subjects right now. So in for those art subjects, we do not have specified teachers. So we have only contract based PhD students coming in to teach us those subjects, the introductory part of law and all those things. And only the senior lecturers are permanent. So the lecturers, the temporary lecturers coming to teach us, they are only there for the research purposes, just to because they are shadowing some senior professor or something like that. So they're not there for their passion. So that shows in the way that they teach. They come one day, they do not come three other days. So that is a very huge problem that we need to tackle. Other than that, of course, as others have all yeah as others have given so many solutions, so many problems were pointed out. I think that's the only thing that I wanted to say. So yeah, thank you. That's uh, all for me, and I'll be carrying forward with the moderation part. Now I would like to call upon Nirupama, or if anyone else has any opinions, please go forward.
I really like the way you spoke about
You're not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, but
Yes, so I really like the way you spoke about the topic, and it just brought a complete different perspective. So, good job.
next, I would like to call upon Nirupama to share her thoughts.
Good evening, everybody. Actually, it's raining heavily here, so there is no light. So I think you guys will be not able to see me if I can speak like this.
Yes, that is totally not a problem. Please go ahead.
Okay. So just a second. So good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
So yeah. So when we speak about teachers training in India, we are really talking about the foundation of our entire education system. As we all know that like a teacher, not only a subject expert, but also a guide, a motivator, and often considered as the role model for many of students, right? So normally in government schools, teachers usually get training through programs like DIETS, District Institute of Education and Training, or short workshops. But honestly, most of the sessions are very general and focused. They are mostly they are mostly focused on theoretical approaches rather than the practical uh, implement knowledge implementation. For example, a session might tell a teacher about activity-based learning, but when they go back to the classroom with 50 to 60 students with a very limited resources, it comes very hard to apply the training there. The training doesn't really help. So one clear challenge is this gap between the theory and the practice. Another issue is that these trainings happens once in a while, sometimes in the beginning of the courses, and there are very little ongoing support that time. So add to that digital gaps also we saw during the pandemic where many teachers struggled with even basic online tools, and we realized how unprepared the system is for these like sudden changes. So even though policies like NEP 2020 are quite progressive, teachers don't always have the training to like implement them. But I think this can improve if training is like made on continuous effort and more practical approach, like short-term refresher modules every few months on hands-on demonstration on how to manage large classrooms, use low-cost teaching aids, or like deal with the students' mental health issues. Uh, if we add digital tools to this, like video tutorials or online community teachers in remote areas, can also access the support without waiting for the formal workshops. So I'll conclude the conversation by I think so making the training just a formality. We need to design it as a support system that helps teachers solve everyday classroom problems and in turns make learning better for students. So, yeah.
So thank you so much, Nirupama. You brought up a very important topic that I think we haven't touched on a lot. That is the classroom size. So we all know that there is a lot of pressure on teachers for uh, as a result of the classroom sizes being so big. So, my follow up question for you would be, or only if you're comfortable to answer, if not, someone else from the other speakers could answer that as well. So, what can be the plausible solutions for this to decrease the classroom size, or do we keep the classroom size as is but change the techniques? What do you think? What is your take upon it? Just elaborate a little if you're comfortable.
Can you repeat your question, please? I'm not able to hear you properly.
Oh, okay, sorry. So, am I audible?
Yes.
My question is that you brought up the topic of classroom size, right? That there are so many students and that burden is upon the teachers to take care of, say, 60, 70 students and only one teacher for that. So, my question to you is that what are the plausible solutions for this? Because it is directly affecting the efficiency of teachers. So, do you think that the classroom size should be decreased, or what is your solution or take on this? Just elaborate a little.
I think the classroom we
You're not audible. Hello, are you there? I think she is having some internet problems due to the shortage. Would anyone else like to put in their views regarding this, or should we go forward with Savastika next? Okay, so I would like to call upon Swastika.
Hello. I think most of the pointers that we have discussed already, I would like to further add a few. So we have talked about how the teachers' training and it's very theoretical, formality based, and it does not touch upon the realities or brings about holistic developments in the classroom. I want to say that India is also grappling along with fiscal property, a very huge challenge of learning poverty. So, if I have to highlight the UNESCO GEM report, it said that it highlighted a very important point, and the first, it was like if we talk about teachers, if we talk about the principals in the school, they found out that in a lot of countries, even the principals do not have adequate leadership, formal leadership training. So, how are they to manage teachers? That is one key point that I would like to highlight. Along with that, as Gauri rightly pointed out, that the Niti Aayog report it found that over a million teacher vacancies exist. If we have to talk about the professional development, like we have to, if we are talking about the training of teachers, first we cannot talk in a country where there is so there is a lot of shortages of teachers. Firstly, we have to fill that gap. Apart from that, OECD pointed out in a report that over 43% of teachers in their member countries feel they are not prepared enough for teaching with their initial training, and it makes it a high area for the need for of more uh, like training purposes. Also, I want to share a very funny anecdote with you. So recently, I visited my village, and there is a government school there. So we asked kids like, "How is your school?" We were just having fun. We were talking to them, and they said that don't go there because ghosts live there. It's a very scary place. We were like, "Who told you that?" And they said the teachers told us not to go there because there are ghosts. So because the teachers did not want to go there, they spread this rumor. This is the harsh reality of the government schools in India. I want to say that in a country which has a long history of revered teachers from Adi Shankaracharya to Radhakrishnan, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan to Abdul Kalam, where teaching was considered a very noble profession, we have reduced it to just making education, like teaching a career as a fallback career. When you have nothing else to do, you find that teaching will suffice. I think that that should be changed. What else can be done is like instead of pushing these generic ideas and focusing on the curriculum based models, like we have to follow the curriculum. Because in my school, I have seen that the teachers were so hell bent on just getting away with their curriculum, completing their curriculum, and not really focusing on whether we are learning as students or not. They did not focus on whether learning was actually happening in the classroom. They just wanted to get done with their jobs, I feel. It was very formal and not a very interactive environment. And I'm sure that happens in a lot of schools. So instead of pushing generic ideas, we should focus on holistic development. Instead, and we should allow teachers to choose their learning modules, whatever they feel is good for them, how they want to teach. We should give them flexibility in that area. Recently, NEP 2020 talked about 50 hours of compulsory, continuous, and personalized training. But aren't we really quantifying it rather than talking about the quality of what the teacher's training in that would be? We have made it 50 hours mandatory, but that is just quantifying and just setting a time limit. So yes, even I would like to end with a quote that Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan said that teachers should be the best minds of the country, no doubt. And education in India can only thrive if the brightest and most committed people take up the role of teaching and not as a fallback career. So I feel that should how things happen. Right? That is not the reality. And I would also like to point out that it is not the fault of the teachers in this country. I feel there are the brightest teachers. We recently had on Teachers' Day, we met a couple of amazing teachers from around India, and they're making it a reality. They are changing the system. It is actually a systemic failure of the system itself. We talk about the GDP, we talk about how much of it is dedicated to education, and that meets the UNESCO criteria. But the actual reality of the funding is not sufficient enough as in high income countries. So it is also that this area is uh, a very uh, uh, underfunded, I guess, and maybe that should be changed too. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much, Swastika. You brought up some new points regarding the vacancies as well. That is a very huge problem that we see in universities and colleges where there are so many vacancies, yet they are not filled in, and then we have a shortage of teachers. So, what are we trying to do about it? What is the management, the government trying to do about it? That is a thing that needs to be pondered upon. Next, if anyone has any views to share about what Swastika said or any add-ons, you could do that. Or if not, I would like to call upon Rani to give in her opinions.
Yes, Kadambari had raised her hand, so I think she wants to say something.
Yes, I absolutely agree with what Swastika had said. I would like to add on her point that where she said that most of the teachers being end up in teaching profession just because they failed in other profession, but there are few exceptions. Like, I'm not from a science background, I'm from humanities background, but my few friends who are from science background, when they were in their need JE preparation time, they strictly using online modes because of COVID. They just a second. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. So I was saying that they were into online mode and they were doing their all preparation online, but they have told me that they have come across some exceptional teachers. Like, some teachers have got high packages salary jobs, but they resign from that job just because of their passion for the teaching. So it is not the case that all the teachers end up being teacher just because they failed in some other field. There are few exceptions, and if this is incorporated in actual offline classes, then it would completely change the image of teaching profession. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Now, Rani, please go ahead with what you have to say on the said topic.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, so coming to teacher education programs, I think many of the teacher education programs are more theoretical. Like students and teachers are coming to class, and teachers are teaching something, students are hearing something. So it's all about the theoretical knowledge. I think we need to strengthen the practical knowledge. By giving practical knowledge, the students can learn more. They will get new learnings, new experiences. So one thing is that, and other thing I need to add upon is that some teachers are biased. Like if you're saying that some teachers always prefer, or some teachers always look upon to those students who are studious or those students who are intelligent. So if there are any programs in a school, they may be calling those students, or they may be first preference will be given to those students. So I think it should be ended. Even if think not majority of the teachers, but there are some teachers still thinks that only those the studious students are the best, or only they are having the talent. I think if we are taking a class, it may be having a 60 students. So I believe that teachers should understand, or teachers should believe that each and every student are unique. Each and every student have talent. Some may be studious, or some may be future dancers. Some may have passion for art, or some may be future singers. So I think teachers should encourage and support each and every student in class. They should be teachers, like students should be very, teachers should be friendly with students. If a teacher is friendly, or yeah, teacher is friendly, then students can approach them. If she is, so if coming to, if I'm thinking about my experience, so when I was in school, there was a teacher who always scolds us for silly matters. Also, she will scold. So I think I was always afraid of approaching her. Whenever I want to talk to her, I won't approach her, because uh, I always lack the confidence to approach her. Because always my inner thought was that whether she would scold me, or whether she would insult me or mock me in front of all other students. So I think teachers should not mock or insult us, insult those students in front of others. It may have a, it may instill a fear or a lack of confidence, or the students may think that uh, I am inferior than other students. I am the dumbest person. I am the stupidest person in the class. So I think it should be entered. Teachers should be a guide, a mentor, and a greatest supporter, or they should encourage the students. So that's all.
Thank you so much, Rani. And we all relate to what you've said about having that fear of that one teacher who humiliates everyone. That is actually very true. And that brings us to a very important point that we can talk all about technical solutions such as training and all those things. But what we need to instill is a mindset of empathy among the professionals who want to enter into the teaching background. So yeah, that is absolutely true. Next, I would like to call upon Anchal to
Just a
go ahead.
minute. I think Vemna wants to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that in our schools, like curiosity, instead of being appreciated, it's being punished. That needs to change. And I also wanted to share an anecdote. I had a classmate of mine. He was a international level karate professional or something. I mean, he was highly respected among our classmates for being that. But we had a maths professor, and then he used to scold that guy for not being studious. So it's like he was like, I don't care, even if you are some international level something. If you're not good at studies, you're useless. That mentality is so bad. I think he stopped going to karate classes because of that professor.
I mean, that's really sad if you think about it. Like India just lost a potential. What can I say? Now, I just wanted to add about what Rani said about that one group which used to get scolded for everything. I was one of those. So when I was in 12th, our class 12C, which was the humanities class, we used to get scolded for everything. And I was in Kendriya Vidyalaya. So Kendriya Vidyalaya is notorious for all the naughtiness, like next level. So ट्यूबलाइट किसने तोड़ा 12C, टीचर के पैर पे बॉम्ब किसने फेंका, 12C. So it was like we used to get scolded for everything, and the principal was also so fed up. Like she used to say कि तुमको ही क्यों बोलते हैं ये लोग. And there was one teacher who used to point at us. So this is like I don't think so. Even if we are doing a training, this mindset is going to change because teachers, they have a particular mindset. So I don't think what we can insert in the training period that can change all this mindset. I can't think of an idea about that.
So true, actually, what you said about the subject, that if you are an art student, you are automatically notorious. So that is so relatable because in my junior college as well, our class 2K was supposed to be that class who was notorious. And the teachers, when we first came in, our batch first came in, they used to wait for us to do something notorious and do something so that they can take us to the principal. But we didn't do anything like that. And the science students were more notorious than us. The math students were more notorious than us. So that perception of linking the child to that one standard of being notorious and all that, that is very toxic and also deters people from going to such subjects of humanities and arts. Absolutely right. So Anchal could go next with her views.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so I think most of the points have already been covered, but I just want to add few more things that what I have seen in government schools actually is that there are very few teachers available and the crowd is much more as compared to what teachers should be having. And because of that, the level of attention each kid needs is not what they get. So that's what something is lacking. At the same time, I think there has been a difference between what should be taught and what is being teach. What I mean is by all such thing is that theory subjects are more kind of being taught, and instead of just telling how that theory is or how that context is related into the real life, we are told to memorize the thing, which is really bad. Because if we ask a question to a school kid or any other person like how this concept is useful in real life, they might fumble a lot because they actually don't know the real use of those concepts in real life. If that would be if that teacher would have taught how that things could actually affect and in a real life, that would be much more funnier way of teaching, and that would actually stay in the mind of that student for a longer run of time. As a student, what I think could have actually been a better thing, that the class should be more interactive in a way that each student can actually express their views without being criticized. Like a lot of time when I was in class 10th, there was a science teacher. There were a lot of curiosity in mind because the concepts were new. And when we asked her, she told that that's not the part of the syllabus, and that's how our curiosity was just um, we were told not to think out of the book, which is really wrong, I think. And we should be focusing on exploring the concept and trying to find out the answers. If that teacher would have actually helped me, that then my confidence would have increased, and I might be more curious to know more things about things. But she told that that's not the part of the syllabus, so it's not something you should need to ask. Apart from this, if there would be a feedback loop where teachers actually tell that you are improving in this aspect, and there has you need to improve in this way also. You can even the way of thinking could shift from this to this. It would be better because we are this would give boost to our curiosity. That's it. That's what I think. If that all thing would be more interactive, then the way the teaching things would be not just boring or time pass, but it would be more fun, and that would actually stay in our mind for a longer run of time.
Thank you so much, Anchal, for bringing in your thought process and what you think about the topic, uh, elaborating on the student to teacher ratio that you were talking about, how that is very important. Actually, the right to education policy mandates a 30 is to 1 student ratio. So for 30 students, for one teacher, there only should be 30 students that are allowed to be in her class. That is for the primary, and for the upper primary, it is for 35 students, one teacher. So that ratio, we all know how well it is being maintained. What is the ground reality? This is even not followed in private colleges and schools. What about government schools? That is a totally different scenario. So yeah, the floor is open to any opinions because I think all the speakers are done with their part. If someone else is left over to speak, then they can put in their name in the chat box or just raise their hand, open their mic, and start speaking. If not, then the floor is open for opinions for anything that you all would want to say.
Before that, I would like Suhani. Suhani, yes, Suhani, you can go next.
Yeah, I think I joined a bit late, so that's why I think that's why it happened. So, yeah, so hi everyone. First of all, thank you so much. It was every one of you spoke some points which were like very insightful and very new. Everyone has spoken almost everything, and just the centric thought of whatever I'm going to speak is going to be the implementation part, the system, basically the teacher training system. So before that, I would just say that a teacher has been a very integral point, in my life, a turning point in my life actually. In school, in college, there has always been one teacher who has inspired me to the fact that because of her only, I may be going to school, I may be going to college, I may be sitting in the class. So there was this teacher of mine. Her name was Miss Vandana. And the first day in our induction, the thing that she said was, which inspired me just to always sit in her class and be comfortable in speaking, because I used to be a very, introvert kid who was like, will they listen to me if I'll speak? So she said one thing, that whenever I come into this class, or whenever you guys come into this class, outside this class, I don't know you, you don't know me, I don't care. But whenever you come into this class, or I do, there is one thing that has to be common with every one of us, that we keep our presumptions, we keep our prejudices outside of this class. We don't bring them in. We come with an empty mind. Like, I come in here with an empty mind, you guys come here with an empty mind, and we learn. That is it. That is why we come into this class. And it has inspired me to this day to unlearn and to learn again. So, with this, I would like to start that our education system has a lot of actors, but the main actors are the students and the teachers, right? Uh, I would just like to point out that it's not like there is not like a system of exceptional teacher training. There are no updated curriculums. There are schools in the world, in India as well, where there are, very mechanized and very organized teacher trainings, and students are actually given updated curriculums. But the thing is that it is mostly limited to that private commercial space, and it never gets to gets a chance to enter that public sphere, where actually there are students who can't afford that kind of schools. There are actually teachers who are teaching in the government schools, or in the less commercialized areas. So I would just like to point out at the system, there are a lot of problems. I would like to summarize them in terms of recommendations. So the first thing is that, of course, there is more theory than practical. There has to be training that is, which is more practical in the sense that it is not only a one-time training for the teachers. Like there are workshops, the teacher is supposed to attend like once a year or twice a year. There's this workshop happening for the teachers. What I think is that the training has to be pretty institutionalized and continuous in terms that like it has to be in the system. There is a training for the teachers as well. For example, there is this one day in the week that is just dedicated to the teachers. The teachers are having classes, so that kind of thing can happen. The second thing is that Samiksha also pointed out that there are a lot of programs like through Diksha platform. There is this thing called Nishtha and diet and everything that has been put in place in order to be implemented, in order to be to enhance the teacher trainings. But these resources and these programs are made without a local context, without keeping in mind the grassroots levels, without a proper need assessment. So this is one thing that can be put into place via the public administration, whoever the departments that are administering the education. They have to make sure that before making the programs or any platform, it is important for the need to be assessed properly. The third thing I would like to point out is, okay, we have done all the need assessment, everything is in place, we have made an exceptional program for the teachers. But are we really expecting that one program that we created in Delhi is going to go to the whole country? Like how many villages we know there are in the whole country, how many schools there are in the whole country, how are we going to ensure that this program reaches to that particular village in Kerala? We don't know that. So it is important for us, for not for us, but for the government particularly, to make these programs accessible through partnerships. Partnerships is, I think, the best way possible to implement these programs properly. The foundations, the organizations that are particularly advocating this area of education. Or one thing that I don't know if a lot of you people are aware of, is the common service centers. Common service centers are in the whole country. There are like in the remotest of the regions. I think the government can leverage the strength of these common service centers very powerfully for these programs to reach to the village, like the most remotest of regions. So that is one thing. And obviously, the implementation part needs a supervision, which I don't think is always put in place. The fourth thing I would like to say is again the hand holding support for these teachers. हमने एक बार ट्रेनिंग दे दी टीचर्स को कि this thing has happened, आपको ऐसे करना चाहिए, आपको वैसे करना चाहिए. But teachers would need a particular, like a hand holding support. Like हमने schools में counselors देखे हैं. Counselors, what are counselors? My teacher was a counselor in my school. She was the counselor and she was teaching us psychology as well. So she was a counselor and she was teaching us as well. So I was like, what do you do for, how do you counsel? She was like, oh, someone comes, I counsel her, and that is it. I'm like, okay. So I think every school or institution needs to have an organized structure where there is one particular team or person that sits for these teacher training, for the counseling, for making sure that each week this thing is looked at, or impact assessment of the teachers as well and the students as well. That is one thing. And at the end, I would just like to wrap this up by saying that we should not look at students and teachers as some separate entity. The students and teachers are linked. They are the ones that teachers ensure development of students, and students as well ensure development of teachers. And it is really a high time that system has to update its with the generation, it has to update its ways, it has to update its curriculums. So yeah, that was me, that was my part. Thank you so much.
Hello, am I audible?
I
Hi,
think
am
you
I
are
audible?
your voice is
Yes,
breaking.
so just a minute. Yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes, so I just love the way you spoke. Your way of speaking is so amazing. Like the confidence, the everything. It's like what I yearn for. And also, guys, I just want to remind you, please stay within the limit because most of you are going above the limit, and the timing, I think it's going too far. But I love the way every one of you spoke about it. It was really good. So, does anyone want to? Okay, I can see some hands raising. Yeah. So, Swastika.
I think what Suhani said is really true. And I want to add on to that because education and learning is very much dependent on the context. Like we are taught by analogies, and analogies differ in different locations. It's also based on the culture or the tradition from where you're from. So when you said that a child in Bihar or a child in Kerala will learn by different methods, and that depends on their particular areas. So I think in that their learning outcomes, their learning objectives are very much different. And because of this, we need to strengthen the local schemes, not just the central schemes. It's not a one policy that fits all, but we also need to strengthen these local schemes as well. So we have a centralized scheme like Nishtha right now under the NEP, but I think that there should be a lot of flexibility given in this regard. So basically, like we know that education is not it is not a topic in the union list, but it is a topic in the concurrent list. So the the central government can provide a huge policy, can provide a general policy, but the implementation depends and should be driven by the state actually and on the local initiative. So so that they can take accountability because the implementation gap that is actually a result of them not feeling a sense of ownership that it is our policy that we need to implement this, we need to carry this out. I think it is something like that. Thank you.
Yes, I really love the way you spoke about it. Yes, Kadambari, you can go next.
Yes, so I just want to add on to the Zoha's point where she mentioned that under RTE, there should be one teacher behind 30 students, but that's not the reality. As I can see an example in my house that my sister is in sixth grade, and in her school, they don't have any sections like A division, B division, or C division. They just have one class, and in that class they are around 65 students, and just one teacher is teaching them. And also I would like to mention one more problem which no one talked about, I guess. That is about that often we see that one teacher is teaching more than one subject, like she is teaching maths, English, EVS, social sciences. Like this is the problem, and even I have faced in my primary school, like when I was in fourth, fifth standard. Yeah, and I think this even this has to be taken care of while forming the policies and all. Thank you.
Zoha, are you there? Okay, so Samiksha, you can go next.
So I really agree. Firstly, Sohani has an incredible way of speaking, so I really appreciate that. And secondly, as she said that there are regional realities which people in Delhi are not aware of. So even if we go further down and see in the same classroom, even in the same classroom, there is no one size fits all policy because students are completely different. We categorize them into toppers and backbenchers. So one size fits all does not happen. Secondly, as we were talking about the reputation attached to the profession of teaching, I think there are some fellowships like Teach for India fellowships, which are like they offer 2 year fellowships for youth or like anyone who wants to teach in government schools. So that initiative is doing something for improving the reputation, especially among youngsters. And all of them pointed out that there is a problem in pupil teacher ratio where there are too many teachers, too many students, and very less teachers. But even in that scenario, I'd like to highlight that for teacher training to be improved, like in corporate we have traineeships, internships, and even civil service training we have probationary periods where uh, civil servants get a 1 year of training under a senior officer. So why don't we have that kind of traineeship, like a 6 month traineeship under senior teachers who are just joining? I think if that could happen and upcoming teachers could see how senior teachers, good teachers handle students, they could learn something, and this is something that we could bring into. Of course, there is a infrastructure and human resource problem, but I think this is something that we could look upon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samiksha. And yeah, I sorry for leaving the meeting in the between, because of course there are so many power shortages all over India, the rain and all those things. So sorry for that disturbance. Other than that, what I wanted to speak about, my opinion about what Suhani said. That is, we all put in our thought in our experiences about the bad teachers, but she was the only one who put in an experience of a good teacher. So that is, I think, a very good point, that even when there are certain bad teachers, we also have those good teachers that we need to always remember and be thankful for. Other than that, it was a very pleasant, a very good policy, Manthan, a very thought provoking one at that. Really love to hear all your experiences, all your opinions. I think this is the best part of the internship for me from now onwards, the policy, Manthan. I'll always be looking forward to it, because it's just so, it scratches your brain all in the right places. You get to hear so many experiences and other things. And thank you so much. I think we can wrap this meeting up if nobody else has anything to say. So,
I
sorry.
think Jemina and Gauri has raised their hands, so I think they have something to say. Jemina,
Yes, go
go.
ahead. Anyone who wants to say, just open your mic and start speaking.
Can I go first? I'll wrap this up very quickly.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
what Shri pointed out, that she was asking, like, how do we bridge that mindset? You can implement as many reforms and as many portals as you want, but how do you bridge that mindset? And that takes me back to, before exam or the night before exam, you have that one friend that unravels that simple concept so beautifully. I think there are a lot of people who have that innate, what do you call that word? I can't remember what that word is. You have that aptitude for a teacher. There are a lot of people like that amongst us casually. Like, they're unraveling such concepts so beautifully, and you're just thinking to yourself, why did this teacher complicate such a simple concept like that? So, there is talent or teaching talent out there, but I don't know the solution to it. I don't know why this happens, but we need to bridge that gap between bringing that talent to classroom. Your friend becomes that teacher that uh, does not traumatize the next generation, that does not traumatize Gen X. So I think we need to look into that. How do we incentivize, how do we dignify that teaching profession again? Because the reality is that it's a past glory, that teaching was a dignified profession. We need to be honest, and we cannot keep saying that there are exceptions to this, that there are good teachers out there. It should not be an exception, but it should be a expectation from a teacher that you should be good. So we need to bridge that gap between the talent and the teaching post, I think.
Absolutely. And Vemana, if you have anything to speak about, go ahead.
Yeah, so mine is so out of context, it's not related to anyone's. But I wanted to add this that we used to have a computer sir, who would take us all of us to a computer lab. I don't remember learning a single point in my 10 years of school. We would go into the computer lab, remove our shoes outside, we would sit and then start playing bakery games inside. He was so looked on by all other professors. He was like, oh, what will you teach? It's of no use. I think by today's growing technology and AI, I think it should be taught. Computer skills are so necessary. They are so ignored and all that is neglected.
So true, especially coming from students who are not in those ICSE premium international schools. Me personally, I studied in a government aided private school, and we only had that one computer lab with some 20 something systems, with only 10 of them working. That too, 8 or 10 of them working. And my name starts with Z, the letter Z. So my turn, so it would go alphabetically. So A first, people with the name A, B, C, D initials, and then until my turn came, the year would end. So I literally had no idea for such a long time how to operate a computer, how to use that technology, because we didn't even have a computer at home. So that is actually a very good point. Totally not not out of context. Yep. So anyone else? Okay, so it was really, really fun to have you all today to be the moderator as well. I really look forward to future policy manthans with different topics that we can bring forward our opinions on. So I think that's a wrap for today.
Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you everyone for speaking up. It was